All right, for this project, you're going to create a program that will ask a person the amount of their bill, and then they will get to choose what bills and coins they will use to pay that bill. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is move the cat down to the corner and shrink him down. We want to get him a little bit out of the way. We still want to use him to put the start code in, but he's not necessary. And then we want to make sure we name it. How will you pay? And then we need to get the images for our sprites. We're going to need to get a penny. So Google search a penny. And when it comes up, click on images. And the first one is fine. Right click, save image as. And then you want to make sure you save it as either a JPEG or a JPEG. So I'm going to just rename the whole thing penny.jpg.
SWB audio capture not registered.
All right, so we've got our penny. We need a nickel. Same steps. Right click, save as. Name it nickel.jpg. Need a dime. Again, same steps. Right click. Oh, these are ads. Be careful with the ads. Scroll down to the actual images. And you want to save the image as. This guy's going to be a dime.jpg and a quarter. Right click, save image as quarter. .jpg. All right, so those are all our coins. Now we need a $1 bill. Watch out for the ads. Be careful with those. You just want a plain old $1 bill. Save image as $1.jpg. Now we need a $5 bill. Again, ads. I hate ads. Save image as $5.jpg. All right, we need a $10 bill.
SWB audio capture not registered.
$10.jpg. Whoops, JPG. And finally, we need a $20 bill. $20.jpg. All right, so we shouldn't need any more images. So to bring in the images, we hover over the cat head icon, scroll up to upload a sprite, and then we are going to find them. Hopefully they will be where, on a Chromebook, they should be right in your downloads folder. Okay, so I got a bunch of junk in here. So penny, now he's a little large, so I'm going to make my penny 33% as big, so just size 33. Next, hover over, upload your nickel. All right, same size for this guy. Just kind of line them up like that. Again, we're going to do this for each one, so you don't have to listen to me each time if you know what you're doing, but now we're looking for the dime. Uh, 33. And I'm going to need a little extra room for my quarter. All right, and then your quarter.
SWB audio capture, not registered.
33. Put him there. All right, so we got all of our change. Now let's get our bills. So I need a $1 bill, or the $1. And that's still a little bit big, but I'm only going to make mine 50. Let's put it right there for now. Okay, let's get the $5 bill. Make it size 50. Put it as close to the edge as you can, because we're going to need this room over here for something else in a minute. All right, we're going to upload our $10 bill. Make him 50 as well. Now I'm going to kind of put it with these kind of centered over those two right there. And then that one there, and then this one right on the edge. And then the last one, of course, is the $20 bill. And make that 50. Size of 50 as well. Put that right there. Okay, so now we have our icons or our sprites that we're going to use as buttons. So when I click a penny, it's going to add a penny to our list. And we haven't made those lists yet, so of course nothing works. But the next thing we need is we need one more sprite, and this one we're going to make on our own. So hover over the icon and then click on Paint, and you'll get this costumes box.
SWB audio
I'm gonna
capture,
select
not
a
registered.
dark color for this because I just want text. So I want to, it should default to the arrow. So you want to click on T for text. Click anywhere over here and type in your bill is. And then click out of it and then click a little, just drag it just a little bit, make it a little bit larger. And then we're going to go over here, and it's hard to grab a hold of because you have to be on the actual text part, the actual color. So just kind of put that roughly right there. So the only thing is, this is just it's an image of some text. And then up here we go back to the code window to get back to this screen. All right, so in our program, we're going to need two variables. So I'm click on variables and it'll scroll down to it. We're going to make a variable called bill and just hit enter. You don't have to change anything else. Drag him about right there. Double click it to change its look to just be a solid text box. Then we're going to add another one called current value, and make sure you leave it for all sprites, so you can just hit enter. Double tap to make it a little bit larger. It's easier to read, plus you don't need the current value. If you like that, that's fine, but it takes up a little more room. And if you accidentally double click again, you'll get this slider bar. We may use those in the future, but for now, let's just keep it like that. All right, and now we need a list. So under make a list, we want to name this
SWB audio capture, not
let's
registered.
just name this money. I know in the instructions it says to name it how will you pay, but let's keep it with the instructions. How will you pay? Question mark. All right, and again for all sprites, you want to keep it, so just hit enter. Now we have this empty list. drag it down just about there. If that pops up, ignore it. So I think it looks better if it's even with the money. Nothing's going to break if it's not perfectly lined up, but I just think that looks better. All right, so our cat is going to hold our initial code. So make sure you select the cat sprite and always check up here to make sure the little ghosty icon is the one that highlighted as the one that you want to work with. So when the green flag is clicked, when the user starts the program, I want to clean everything up. The first thing you want to do is clean everything up. Just ignore the bells. So we want to set the current value, which is this guy down here. We want to set him to be blank. It could be 0, it could be question mark. I think blank works better. And we're going to set bill to question mark because that's what we're going to be asking in a few minutes. So if I run it now, you'll notice that bill turned to the bill text turned to question mark, and the current value text just went away. So we erased it out. And we don't have anything in the list, but we want to make sure we clean that out at the beginning of the program. So we're going to come down to under make a list. We're going to get delete all, and we're going to delete all the items in our
SWB audio capture
so list
not registered.
In the default. All right, so now we want the kitty cat. I assume his name is Scratch, to ask us what our bill is. So we're going to ask a question, and that question is going to be stored in this answer box. And we need to use the answer box. So I like to go ahead and pull it out here and just have it ready for when I need it, so I don't have to come back up here and get it again. All right, so what's the bill? Question mark. All right, and then we are going to store that in the variable called bill. So we're going to set bill to be equal to whatever our answer is. So notice the reason I pulled this over here was so that I didn't have to go back and get it. All right. So let's see if that works. So what's going to happen when I run the program, it's going to empty these two things out, and then it's going to clear out the list, and then the cat's going to ask, what's the bill? And then it's just going to wait until I give it an answer. Okay, so run it, and now it's asking, what is the bill? And we need to find a better place for the cat. So I'm just going to say $123.45, hit enter, and that's what gets put in the bill box up here. Okay, so I'm going to move the cat up here. Let's try that, see if it's not blocked. Yeah, that's perfect, not blocked. So 12345.99. Try that. Yep, there we go. Now I wouldn't want to have to count that high with the bills that we have. So that's just, you're just testing. It's very good practice to test. Every time you add a few things, test and make sure they work. All right, so our code for our cat works perfect. Now what we want to do is every time we click an amount, we want to add it to the list.
SWB audio capture not registered.
So we're just going to start with penny. So make sure your penny's highlighted. Make sure your little ghost icon is the one you want. And then we're going to look under events for when this sprite is clicked. So what that means is when we click this sprite that we're putting the code on, it's going to do what we ask. So what we want it to do is we want it to add something to the list. So let's go down to variables, and right under variables is list. We are going to add something to how you pay. So the value of a penny is 0.01. And we also want to update the current value. So we are going to change the current value. We're going to change the variable called current value by 0.01. And what that's going to do is going to add 1 penny. So let's test that. So we're just going to put in a random number and then click on penny. I should get a penny listed in my list. and a penny added to the total. So now I have 2 pennies in the list, and the total is 2 pennies. So that looks like it's working pretty good. Awesome. Now there's a little bit of a trick to this. There's 3 different ways. We want the exact same code under the nickel, the dime, the quarter, but we don't want to have to type it in every time. So we can go to our penny, where our code is that we want to use, and we can put it in the backpack. So I'm going to drag that whole thing down there and let it go. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop back up here, so nothing really changed. And then it's going to put a copy of that little
SWB audio capture not registered.
Put it in my backpack. So now I can go to nickel. I can drag out of my backpack and put that in there. And I kind of wish it would put it in the center, but it doesn't. So now we're on nickel. So instead of adding a penny to the total, we're going to add a nickel to the total. And we're going to change the current, we're going to add a nickel to the list and change the current total. So let's make sure that works. So 1, 2, 3 is our bill. Penny, penny, penny. Nickel, nickel, nickel. Nickel, nickel, nickel. Nickel, nickel, nickel. Okay, so that's not working in it, because we want to add 0.5 not to money, we want to add it to how will you pay, and the current value. So make sure these two lined up. I think what happened was I actually had a code snippet from before and I grabbed the same one. So I'm just going to get rid of those. And my backpack is empty. So I'm going to put this guy down here. Now that one should be the right one. So if I just to test it, I'm going to bring it in here and make sure it looks the same. Yep. So the name of the list has to be the same. So see where this says money? That's where I did it before. And it's easy to be, to make mistakes if you do things like that. So make sure your names are the same. So whatever it's named, that's the list. So we don't need this anymore, so we can drag it over here and throw it away. All right, so for dime, we want to make sure the dime's selected. Always check your ghost, and then we can throw this in here. Now that's the right one, because it has the how will you pay list, and it has the current value, which is the variable that we use right here. All right, dime is worth 0.10 cents, 0.10 to the total. And now let's test that. So our nickel,
SWB audio capture not registered.
Nickel, dime. So I've got a penny, I've got a nickel, I've got a dime. All right, awesome. Now I'm going to do the last ones really quick. And then I'll show you how to check and make sure they all work like they're supposed to. So quarter next. All right, so I've got all of them done now, I think. So let's test it. All right, so I'm going to run it again. It doesn't matter what I put in for the bill because we're just testing the money. So I'm going to put in 120. All right, so if I click penny, I get a penny, nickel, get a nickel, dime, so on, 25, $1, $5, $10, and $20. So if you have one of each, your total should be $36.41. So if you want to verify that on a calculator and you know how to count up the money, you can. Now the instructions do not talk about having to test this program to make it work. This was an example of how to do a list and how to do what might be called buttons that do special code. So for extra credit, if you wanted to see if you could have it test
SWB audio capture not registered.
Do that, but I'm not going to go into that in this video. And that's it. Just submit that, and you should be finished.